I was done. You're covering my half of the rent, my brother texted. I shot back. Keep dreaming. Moments later, Dad's message hit. You're not part of this family until you pay for his $100,000 loan. That evening, I locked down every card tied to my name. By morning, my phone was flooded with 58 missed calls. At first, I thought it was a prank. How could it not be? My brother's text came out of nowhere like a punch without a warning. I quit. You're covering my half of the rent. No explanation, no sorry, no heads up. Just a line like I was some business he was ditching. I stared at it, confused, for a solid minute. Was this a sarcastic jab? A dare? Then I noticed the silence in the apartment. I walked to his room. The door was ajar. Inside, it was empty. No bed, no clothes, no desk, not even a sock left behind. He hadn't just left, he'd vanished, sneaking out while I was at work. Standing in that bare room, I thought, no way, he can't be serious. We've got 6 months left on the lease. Rent's over $2,400 a month, split down the middle, and he still owes me for last month's utilities. I fired back without overthinking. Keep dreaming. I wasn't ready for what came next. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. Dad in all caps, no punctuation, just fury in one line. You're not part of this family until you pay for his $100,000 loan. My brain froze. A loan? Then it clicked. My brother's been obsessed with some ridiculous app for months, a tech startup about organizing wardrobes, matching socks to outfits. I thought it was a joke when he pitched it. I told him not to waste his energy. Turns out he didn't just waste his time, he burned through someone's cash, a lot of it. And now I was supposed to bankroll it. I sat on the couch, rereading Dad's message, stunned. What kind of father says that? You're not part of this family. Just like that over a loan I had no part in. I didn't reply, didn't cry, didn't argue. I was done justifying myself, done playing the responsible one. I opened my banking app. First, I froze the joint credit card Dad convinced me to co-sign last year. Then the emergency debit card Mom sometimes used. One by one, I locked every account, auto-pays, linked cards, shared subscriptions. I even called the utility company and removed my brother's name from the bill. If they wanted to cut me off, they could deal with the quiet too. I logged into the storage unit portal, where my parents kept old furniture and holiday decorations. My name was on that lease. I changed the access code and security question. I could have done more, but I wanted them to feel it slowly, like a creeping realization. I went to bed by 9 p.m., ignoring my phone. I knew the chaos would hit by morning, and it did. I woke to 58 missed calls, 10 voicemails. My phone vibrated for a full minute when I turned the ringer back on. I didn't listen to the messages. Instead, I called Uncle Rob, Mom's brother, the only one who never asked me for money or guilted me for existing. I told him everything, the rent, the loan, the blackout. He paused, then asked softly if I wanted to know what my family really said about me behind my back. I hesitated, but told him to go ahead. He didn't hold back. He started with a conversation he overheard at my cousin's wedding 2 months ago. Mom was chatting with Aunt Carla, not knowing Rob was nearby. She laughed, saying, "Grace thinks she's above us because she pays her own way." Then she added, "If she stops helping, she'll see who her real family is." I stayed quiet, listening. Then came the part that hurt. Rob said Dad told him multiple times that I owed them for putting up with me as a difficult teenager, that I should be thankful they didn't abandon me when I went to therapy at 16. Like being a mildly depressed kid with boundaries was a debt I had to repay. It got uglier. After my big promotion last year, they had a whole conversation in a family group chat, one I wasn't part of, about how they could rely on Grace more now. I didn't even know that chat existed. Rob saw it once when Mom left her phone open at a barbecue. He didn't say anything then because he wasn't sure what I knew. Now he knew I needed the truth. I nodded silently, though he couldn't see. He ended with, "They don't think you'll ever cut them off, Grace. They think you need them too much." That's when it all made sense. Every guilt trip, every backhanded compliment, every reminder of some small favor from my childhood, a ride to practice, a birthday gift, a pair of shoes, like I owed them my paycheck forever. They didn't want me to grow up. They wanted me to be useful. I didn't cry or yell. I thanked Rob and hung up. Then I opened my laptop. First, I emailed the landlord explaining my brother bilayed on the lease. I offered to cover 2 months' rent if he'd let me end the lease early. I said I'd provide proof of abandonment if needed. He replied within an hour, agreeing as long as the apartment was spotless and empty by month's end. I said it would be. Next, I booked a U-Haul, not to move, but to store. I packed everything that was mine. Kitchen gear, electronics, papers, even my bed, my brother's stuff. I labeled it and stacked it by the door. Then I made one more stop, the storage unit. I didn't touch their things, no selling, no trashing. I just took photos of every item and emailed them with the subject, "You have 10 days to take over this lease." After that, I was done. That night, I ignored every call, muted every chat. I wasn't angry anymore, just clear-headed. For the first time, I saw how they'd conditioned me to feel guilty for having boundaries. And I was finished. No more explanations, no more loans, no more being the dependable daughter, sister, or human ATM. I was planning my exit, silent and complete. And the next move would hit them harder than they could imagine. The calls kept coming, but they shifted. First, it was fury. My brother left 20 voicemails, swinging between fake confusion and outright anger, saying I was destroying his life and didn't get how startups work. I didn't respond. Then Dad called from a blocked number. I answered by mistake, thinking it was work. He didn't shout or threaten. He apologized, said he overreacted, was stressed about the loan, worried about the family breaking apart. He used words like together and reconciliation, saying he missed me, was proud of me, never meant to hurt me. I listened, then asked, "Who's in the family group chat?" A long pause. Then, "That's not important." That was enough. I hung up. The next day, Mom sent a fancy gift basket, cheeses, candles, teas I don't drink. No note, just a receipt charged to the card I'd frozen days earlier. Declined. Then they flipped the script, acting like I was the one who needed to be forgiven. An aunt I hadn't heard from in months texted, saying I was ungrateful after all your parents did for you. A cousin asked if I was upset over something petty and should just move on. They were circling, rewriting the story, painting me as the difficult one. I stayed silent. That silence drove them wild. They were so used to my reliability that its absence threw them. Mom texted, asking why her Netflix stopped working. My brother emailed, wanting the Wi-Fi password since the router was still in my name. Even the dog's vet bill bounced because I'd been covering it. The more they reached out, the quieter I got. Then came the real twist. My brother sent a Venmo request for $1,000 labeled "your share of the family trip." I nearly laughed. They were still planning a Maui vacation when they said I was too busy for back in June, but they'd budgeted my money into it. They assumed I'd pay, smile, and stay quiet. I didn't accept or decline the request. I just commented, "Ask the group chat." That broke something. 2 hours later, Uncle Rob called, sounding exhausted like he'd just left a tense family dinner. He said, "I don't know what you did, but your mom's pacing the kitchen like she's gearing up for battle." I asked if they were really going to Maui without me. He said they were until your dad realized the hotel was booked with your corporate discount. Non-refundable. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. They were starting to see they needed me more than I needed them, but I wasn't done. I had one last move, one they'd never see coming. I thought I'd cut them off for good. After the storage unit, the apartment, the blackout, I thought I could walk away and let them figure out life without me. But people like them don't let go easily, not when they've grown used to relying on you. Not when you hold a card they don't know about. It started with a call I nearly ignored. Wednesday, 10:07 p.m., an unknown number. Normally, I'd let it go to voicemail, but something told me to answer. "Grace, it's Lena, my old boss. We hadn't talked since I left her company for a better job downtown." Lena was direct, no fluff. She said she'd run into my dad at a charity event. "He introduced himself as your dad," she said. "Didn't mention you at first, but then he started talking." Apparently, he cornered her near the bar, saying I was going through a personal crisis and might be stepping back from work soon. He framed it as concern, but Lena saw through it. His tone was smug, calculated. "I figured you should know," she said. It felt like a setup. That's when it hit me. He wasn't just upset I'd cut him off. He was trying to sabotage my reputation, subtly, so if I didn't fall in line, I'd fall harder. I was only valuable when I was useful. I thanked Lena and hung up, not telling her the whole story. Then I remembered something I'd forgotten. My old laptop, the one I used when I lived at home, working part-time, helping Dad organize his files because he couldn't figure out Google Drive. He'd given me passwords, let me scan contracts, letters, forms, upload everything. He never changed the login. I opened the laptop. It synced in 30 seconds. The folder appeared, taxes and MISC. Inside were dozens of PDFs. I scrolled until I found it, a $100,000 loan agreement signed by my brother, co-signed by Dad, my name nowhere on it. But the collateral, their house and a car. Then I found a letter in a subfolder labeled Bank 2025, dated 3 weeks ago. A warning, missed payments. One more and the loan would default. Foreclosure would start. That was why they needed me, not because I was family, but because they were about to lose everything. They didn't plan to ask for help. They planned to guilt me into it. Then I found something else. An email draft to a private investor written by my brother or maybe dad. It pitched the app again, saying, "We're expecting funding from a family source." Me. They were promising my money without asking, like I was a guaranteed payout. I took screenshots of the loan, the letter, the email, not to use, just to have. Then I sent Dad a one-line email, subject, "I know," body, blank. I wanted him to wonder what I'd found. His reply came 2 hours later, 8 paragraphs of desperation. Paragraph 1, sorry. 2, parents mess up. 3, a memory about teaching me to ride a bike. 4, blaming my independence. 5, claiming he talked to Lena out of pride. The rest, guilt, manipulation, not one word about the loan. He knew I'd seen it. He just didn't know what I'd do, so I did nothing. No response, no threats, no plan to expose them. I waited. The next morning, Uncle Rob called, laughing. At a family dinner the night before, my brother hinted I might come around. Mom nodded, saying she could sense it, even toasting to family healing. Rob stood up and said, "Don't bet on it." He told them I'd seen the loan documents, knew about the default, heard from Lena, and had access to more than they thought. He added that I hadn't said what I'd do, and that uncertainty was better than revenge. By the weekend, the calls stopped. Not because they gave up, but because they were regrouping. The silence wasn't peace, it was strategy. They didn't know my next move, and that made them cautious. They finally saw me as someone who could hurt them. Sunday, my cousin Hannah sent a voice memo. She never contacts me unless she needs a favor, but this time she said, "Grace, I don't know what's going on, but they're losing it. Rob dropped a bomb at dinner. Your mom's crying nonstop, your dad's silent, and Alex is pacing like he's about to be sued. What did you do?" I didn't reply. That was the best part. I hadn't done anything. Not yet. I hadn't touched the files, hadn't contacted the bank, hadn't shown Lena the screenshots. I just let them stew in the possibility, and it was unraveling them. By Tuesday, they broke. Mom sent a long email, subject, "A chance to reconnect." 6 paragraphs of carefully crafted words about misunderstandings and family bonds. She asked me to come for dinner just to talk. I scrolled, expecting a mention of the loan, the house, or their attempt to sabotage me. Nothing. Instead, she attached a screenshot of an unsent text to the family chat. "I think we owe Grace an apology." She wanted credit for considering it, not for meaning it. That was her peace offering, an unsent text and a dinner invitation. I stared at it for 10 minutes, then closed it. No reply. 2 days later, a handwritten letter arrived from Dad. I didn't know he could write one. It was brief. He was sorry, things went too far, he missed me, couldn't sleep knowing how I saw them. Then the kicker, "I know we're not perfect, but family is about forgiving Grace." That's their fallback. Forgiveness, like their betrayal, was just a misunderstanding. Like manipulation was a bump we'd smooth over with hugs and dessert. I didn't want revenge. I wanted distance, clean, permanent, final. But before I severed ties completely, I did one thing, not to hurt, but to make it clear. I emailed the bank's collections team, stating I wasn't a cosigner on the loan. I attached the agreement, showing only my brother and Dad's signatures. I asked them to update their records, removing any link to me. They replied in 2 hours, "Thank you for clarifying. Your name has been removed from all references." And just like that, I was free. No legal ties, no obligations, no loopholes they could exploit. I didn't tell Uncle Rob. I didn't message my parents. I went home, opened every box with their handwriting, and sorted 3 piles. Mine, theirs to return, and trash. By midnight, I decided my final move. When I made it, they'd feel it, not through anger or threats, but through something they weren't ready for, total silence. The day I cut them off wasn't loud or dramatic. No big fight, no long texts, no tears in the mirror. It was a Tuesday morning, drinking coffee, staring out my window at nothing. I realized I hadn't thought of them once that day. No heaviness, no wondering what to do, just a quiet calm. My phone showed more missed calls, 3 from unknown numbers, 1 from my brother's backup account, 2 voicemails from Mom. I didn't listen, I just blocked every number. It didn't feel like victory or spite, just like I was finally leaving a house that had been crumbling for years. Then I did what I'd been avoiding. I opened the family group chat they'd added me to, probably thinking I'd feel included. As if, after the loan, the manipulation, the attempt to ruin my career, I'd be grateful for a seat at their table. I scrolled through months of messages, plans I wasn't invited to, lies about me, guilt trips. Mom shared old emails I'd sent when I helped her, captioned, "She used to care." My brother mocked me for thinking she's better than us because I paid my bills. The latest from Dad that morning, "Give her time, she'll come back, she always does, she's not heartless, just emotional." That was it. I didn't argue or explain. I typed, "No, I won't. Goodbye." Then I left the chat. No drama, no response, just me shutting a door they thought I'd always keep open. That afternoon, Uncle Rob called. He asked if I was okay. I said I was better than I'd been in years. He didn't push me to reconsider, just said, "It's about time you put yourself first." Then he added, "They didn't just take you for granted, Grace. They banked on you never realizing you had a choice." That was it exactly. They thought I'd always feel too guilty to leave, that I'd confuse duty with love, that they could push and guilt and manipulate, and I'd still show up with a smile. But I didn't. That night, I deleted every photo of them from my phone, not to erase the past, but to stop giving space to people who only took mine. I went to bed early. No buzzing phone, no dread, just quiet. And in that quiet, for the first time in forever, I didn't feel alone. I felt free. For anyone who thinks cutting off family is cruel, here's what I say. Being raised by people who treat love like a transaction, who punish your independence, who take everything and give nothing, that's cruel. Walking away, that's survival. 6 months later, it's been 6 months. Not a single text, knock, or fake crisis from a distant relative. Just silence, the kind I used to fear, thinking it made me cold. Now it's something I guard. They've gone quiet, at least to me. I'm sure they've spun a dozen stories to others. She's going through something. She's resentful. She'll come back. They probably call it a phase, but this is no phase, it's a new life. My days don't revolve around cleaning up their messes. No more overdraft alerts or guilt-soaked voicemails. I don't double-check accounts for their sneaky access. I can shop without budgeting for their demands. The calm felt odd at first, after years of their noise, pressure, and expectations. Now I fill it with better things. I take long walks after work, no headphones, just the rhythm of my steps. I've started baking, not for others, but for me. I read more, renewed my passport, and I'm planning a solo trip somewhere far where no one knows my past. A few weeks ago, I ran into my brother in a grocery store parking lot. We both froze for a moment. He looked worn, less cocky. He started to speak, but I kept walking. No anger, no scene, just a choice. The same way they chose to use me until I broke. I didn't owe him anything. I haven't seen him since. Uncle Rob still checks in, never prying. Last call, he said my parents are trying to change, talking about their mistakes. But I told him the truth, it doesn't matter, that door is shut. They didn't apologize when it would have counted. They didn't step up, they stepped on me. I'm not angry anymore, I'm just elsewhere mentally, emotionally, and soon physically. This piece cost me what I thought family meant. But I'd pay it again in a heartbeat. Walking away isn't running, it's arriving where you're meant to be.